Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Immigration Talk Show. I'm your host, Sam. And before moving ahead, let me read out this very important disclaimer. By watching our videos, you agree and understand that the information provided by our experts and attorneys, including comments and replies from users, is not a legal advice. So, use of information is at your own risk. All right, friends, after this very important disclaimer, I would also like to say that we are live on YouTube, available on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and on Instagram as well. So make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Our handle is at Immigration Talk Show. And do follow us also on these many platforms and participate in our webinars. That would be lovely. And the best part is you can also, ask questions and queries whatsoever you are having right now, especially this very tough time. So ask as many questions as possible. Participate in our webinars so that you can get your questions. Ready. Your answers can be ready. So with that, friends, I would also like to say that today our topic is again very timely and very important, and that is about L1 visas and Dropbox changes in India. So recently, we got to know that on February 10th, 2025, there are recent changes in Dropbox process. What it is, how is it going to impact, especially the L1 visa applicants, and how the future will be, what challenges will be there, and also how can you overcome from those hurdles. We are going to explore in this webinar. And to help me out, to make this session a wonderful one, very insightful one, I have my very special guest, none other than attorney Uma Mantravadi, who is one of the finest immigration attorney and also expert in US immigration policies. So thank you so much, Uma, for this time. I'm really happy that you're here again. So really looking forward to this session.
Good afternoon, Sam. It's a pleasure always to be back. And there's so much to talk about.
Absolutely. And we are really ready with our notepads, that what else Uma is going to share with us so that not even a single information could be missed out. But with that, friends, the best part is you can also reach out to our attorney, to our immigration attorney, Uma Mantravadi, on the given number. That is 713-787-5297. You can also email her on uma at com and visit our website, that is www.mantralaw.com. So I'm sure that our friends would go ahead and reach out to our attorney. So Uma, before diving into our question, is there anything else that you would like us to know about any recent changes, any recent update that's happening in immigration?
Sam, I think with the Trump administration, there's never going to be a dull moment. There's always going to be something uh, that crops up behind our backs. I go to sleep and then worry about what's coming tomorrow morning. And there's
That's right.
always something coming up. So there are a couple of things I just want to touch base. We'll talk more in detail when it becomes necessary. One is on 25th of February, the Trump administration and the USCIS has announced the upcoming launch of a new alien registration process. They are going to set up an online registration process. This
Mhm.
has not yet happened. Having said that, the Immigration and Nationality Act has always required registration of most aliens who remain in the United States for 30 days or more. And this requirement has always been, not always been enforced. We saw a registration period after 9/11 when President Bush was there, and he required people from certain countries only to come forward with the registration. If they are here legally or here illegally, they had to come and do a registration. And I don't know if many people remember, they were given like an FBI number, so
Yeah.
all their cases were registered with the FBI. This was after 9/11 because of 9/11. And so similarly, President Trump is wanting people to register so that they know exactly who is where, and especially children who've turned 14 and above. They want them to be registered because a lot of children were brought into the country when they were 6 months old or 2 years old or 5 years old, and now
Yeah.
they're 14 plus. So, you cannot get fingerprints of children under 14 even now,
Mm-hmm.
whether they're applying for a green card, citizenship, H1L1, I mean H4L2, whatever. But once they are 14, they'll have to upgrade that with their fingerprints.
Yeah.
So now they are asking even the parents of children who are 14 or 14 and above to go ahead and register, even if they are here illegally. But we as attorneys feel this is like a little trap for people, because once they provide their information, their address, their phone number, their email, we are pretty certain that ICE is going to go and pick them up. So this is not great news, but this is news that just came about. And they're also saying for those who do not uh, register, they're going
Mm-hmm.
to um, fine them with a $5,000, and possibly also consider this like a criminal misdemeanor and could jail them for 6 months or more.
Oh God. Okay.
So this is getting serious. Like we
Mm-hmm.
talked, uh, the loop around the neck is coming from all sides. People are getting, narrowed in, pushed in every possible way. When
Mm-hmm.
President Trump talked initially about deporting, mass deportations, he
Yeah.
talked mainly that he's going after illegal criminals. But this
Mm-hmm.
doesn't seem, they're going after criminals. Because if you're talking about 14-year-olds, you know, I don't know where this is going.
Absolutely. There's a lot to
So,
process just in the beginning of the session. All right. Yeah,
yeah,
Uma, please go ahead.
and there's also something I would call it maybe funny for me, not funny for many. But President Trump has also announced that he's going to give it's called as a gold card program, where people have to invest
Yeah.
$5 million. And if they invest $5 million, they can get citizenship. And his idea is to repeal, meaning take out the current EB5, which is at 800,000 or 1,050,000, take that out completely and bring in this gold card with $5 million investment to get a
Mm-hmm.
citizenship. Meaning,
All right.
I'm sure they have to go through the green card and then to the citizenship. I don't know if they're going to offer citizenship straight, but this is something that was announced. As attorneys, we don't think that President Trump can, uh, bring in this rule by an executive order. It has
Mm-hmm.
to come through Congress. Congress has to repeal the EB5 Act and then bring in the new rule. So that's going to take time, and I don't know if Congress would really implement this, because it's a huge, huge amount.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if 1% of the people in the world can afford to invest $5 million and get a gold. Now he's talking gold card. And like I said, to me, sometimes this seems funny. I don't know if he'll bring a platinum card.
That's right.
Uh, So we got to wait and see. I just wanted to bring this information as first and foremost. And I think we should talk about the alien registration process more in detail in the next coming weeks. Once the USCIS will give us more information as to who registers where, because there is some confusions about who has to and who doesn't.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that, once we get more information. But this is not great news
Mhm.
for any of us.
Absolutely. I think for sure, Uma, this is a great topic to cover in the next webinar. And our viewers are, I would say, friends, go ahead and collect more questions on the upcoming topic as you got to know what our topic will be for the next session. So, with that, I would also like to come back to our today's topic, Uma. that today we are
Yes,
going to talk about L1 visa and Dropbox changes in India. So
yes.
this is a very sudden change and a very recent update that is our viewers are getting to know. But we would also like to know more in the detail. So with that, I would like to know my first question: that what specific updates have been made to the Dropbox process for L1 visa applicants in India as of February 2025?
Well, the changes in the Dropbox requirements is both for L1s, H1s, F1s, L2s, H4s. So it's for all the categories, Sam. It's not just for the L1 applicants alone. So earlier, the previous government said if you had the same category, you held a similar category for 48 months, you could use the Dropbox. You didn't have to go through an interview. Um, you could use the Dropbox process, but now they're saying no, we are bringing down the 48 months to 12 months. And if so, if you've been in the similar category for at least the preceding 12 months, then you're eligible for the Dropbox, failing which all of the applicants will have to go for an interview, whether it's an L1A, L1B, H1, H4, L2, any of these categories, including F1s and F2s.
All right. Okay. And there's another question, Uma, that, before diving into other questions, I would also like to know the difference between renewing an L1 visa through the Dropbox process versus attending a regular in person interview.
As I just mentioned, if the person was in an L1 category in the preceding 12 months, then they don't have to go through the interview. That's what is a Dropbox. Basically, they're saying, drop off all your documents at the Dropbox that they have provided. Once they receive it, if they feel that you qualify for the Dropbox. Obviously, you're not going to have an interview. But even for those who have qualified for the Dropbox, sometimes if the consular officer feels that this individual still needs to come for an interview, they can still tell them, you know what, we've got your documents and we still need you to come for an interview. If they feel there's some kind of a fraud or they're missing documents or there's some clarity that is lacking in the documents that they feel that this individual has to come and clarify. So your Dropbox can always even convert into an interview. It's not a guarantee.
All right. Okay. So, how does it going to affect the L1 visa applicant?
In what sense?
Like, if this Dropbox is happening, then how those L1 visa applicants are going to be affected?
They're not going to be affected, but if they were not in an L1 visa in the last 12 months, as per the current rule, they have to go through the interview. Earlier, it was the eligibility was 48 months.
Yeah.
They've brought it down to 12 months. So if you didn't have an L1 in the last 12 months, you don't qualify for a Dropbox. You will go through an interview.
All right. So, what do you think, Uma? Like, why the window has been, shut down? I mean, not shut down, but why reduced from 48 months to 12 months? What can be the reason behind it?
I think they're tightening up the vetting process more crucially because 48 months is almost 4 years.
Yeah.
So they want to know if this individual really qualifies for this. They don't want people to just fall through the cracks.
Hmm.
So the vetting, as they have clearly mentioned, Trump administration, that we are definitely going to be more tightening the vetting process, whether it's an L1, whether it's an H1, whether it's an EB5, whether it's an immigrant visa, whether it's a fiance, whether it's a K3, it doesn't matter. I think the vetting process, we talked about this last week as well, that the vetting process is going to be tightened much more than what it was before.
That's
In my opinion, this is what they are. They brought down the 48-month rule to a 12-month to make sure that they have access to these individuals, get more information, making sure there's no fraudulent or frivolous applications being filed. Everything is credible, everything is correct, and these individuals are not just coming here to sit down. They're not being benched. They actually have a job as an L1A or as an L1B. What are they doing? Do they even know where they are going, what they are doing?
that's right. And I think, Uma, if we go through different articles also, then we have seen that Indians are not very much happy with this recent change. They are not liking this. They are saying that it's quite unfair for them because there are applicants, who got their visa expired on January 2020. And they were waiting because they were thinking that they have still 4 years to renew their visa. But
Correct,
suddenly they got to know that, this all won't happen. So, Uma,
correct.
my question
Even
would.
those applicants, I'm sorry to cut you off, Sam, but even those applicants who already had scheduled their Dropbox appointments were
Mhm.
told via email that their Dropbox is being canceled and they now have to schedule an appointment and come through the appointment process. I know this is very, very disheartening and disappointing,
Yeah,
especially if people from India who wait months and months and months even to get appointments, even for the Dropbox.
yeah,
It's not that the Dropbox is readily available for people. So it takes months and months for them to plan this, to get this, and now they get an email saying, sorry, you're not eligible for the Dropbox because we've taken out the 48-month and you fall into the 12-month, so you don't qualify. So go back, refile your DS 160 or whatever, and then get an appointment and come in the line. So, yes, it is extremely disappointing, no doubt about it.
that's right. And that too, I think it happened in a very sudden way, right? No prior information
Correct.
or
Absolutely.
notification took place.
Absolutely. What I would suggest to people is, if you're working for multinational companies and you're big companies, be it like Infosys, Wipro, TCS, these are all big companies.
Hmm.
And I would suggest that each of these applicants who are coming to the US because of their employer bringing them, and if they're facing all these problems, their owners of the companies, the CEOs, the CFOs, should really write a letter to President Trump or to Elon Musk expressing their dissatisfaction because it's
Yeah,
affecting a lot of their employees. It's causing a lot of problems for them to come to the US in a timely manner. They may be losing millions of dollars because of the delays for these applicants to come. So if they can express that to them in the form of a letter, and also I would say they should also write to Prime Minister Modi ji, and express their
yeah,
discontentment. I think the heads of the state should be discussing this if they get enough number of people complaining about the process and the sudden change in the process without giving them any notice. At least give them a 6-month notice. So those who already had their appointments would have at least gone through their Dropbox appointments. I think that was unfair. Yeah,
yeah. I think it's not only some people are thinking. Most of the people, especially the applicants, they are really not liking this change. And I think, Uma, it's not only applicable, for those who are about to file the visa application, but also the ones those who have already filed. For them also, it is being affecting in a very harsh way. So I think that's why they are also very.
absolutely. That's what I was saying. The people who already filed, who
Yeah.
already were here on an L1 are, coming back on an L1 after a renewal or a break or whatever.
Hmm.
Even they are mainly the ones affected.
Yeah.
The brand new applicants are the brand new applicants. So they
Hmm.
don't qualify for the Dropbox.
That's right.
So it is the previously, you know, the people who held an L1, L1A, L1B, H1, H4, those are the ones who are affected.
That's right. And what about those applicants who were waiting for 4 years and maybe on January 2020 they got their visa expired, but now they're about to renew, but they are not able to. So, do they have to go
Right.
with the same process again?
Yes. Yes. They would, because that's some of my clients who
Mm-hmm.
got an email saying that, sorry, because of the new rule, you don't qualify. You didn't have this in the last 12 months. You had it in the last 48-month rule, but you don't qualify for the 12-month rule. So
That,
because they had a gap, they had to go back and wait. They were doing some work with the parent company and they were supposed to come back, but because of this rule, now they got, you know, kicked out
mhm.
from the line of the Dropbox.
Oh God, that's so sad, and that's so I would say heartbreaking because going through again with the same process, it really takes
Uh,
years and years to get that approval.
and it's a very, what to say, very stressful situation also because they don't know now under the new administration what the officers are really looking for.
Hmm.
That's a million-dollar question.
That's right. Okay. With that, Uma, I would proceed with my next question. And
Yeah.
okay, let's now understand about the challenges that our applicants may face. So, what potential difficulties might applicants face due to the recent changes in the Dropbox process? And also, if you could explain us how they can prepare themselves.
Well, whether it's Dropbox or whether it's an interview, Sam, I always tell people to go prepared. Make sure, check with your employer and take all the documents, the hard copies.
Hmm.
You're not allowed to show a phone at the window, of course.
Yeah.
So, take everything with you that is applicable, talk to the company attorney, find out what all you need to carry. I would carry more than less, especially your transcripts, your degrees, your certifications, your experience letters, anything and everything you can carry. And if you've previously been on an L1 in the last 12 months, I would carry your pay stubs, your W-2s, to show that you were maintaining your L1 status.
All right. And Uma, what difficulties might applicants face due to this change?
The difficulty is if you're not qualified for the 12-month rule, you don't qualify for the Dropbox. That's as simple as that, since the 48-month has dropped to the 12-month. But you're still eligible to apply for the interview process. And so, what I am telling people is people who are in the US, if you don't have to travel, please don't.
All right.
Avoid traveling, especially if you don't have a visa stamp that will allow you to come back, because you'll have to go through these headaches.
Mhm. Absolutely. All right. With that, Uma, let's go ahead with our next question. That can an individual renewing an L1 visa utilize the Dropbox facility if their prior visa was in a different category?
Sorry, can an individual renewing an L1 visa, if they're, good question. I'm not sure. They can still say, yes, I'm eligible for the Dropbox because I had an H1, in
Mm-hmm.
the last 12 months. It was not exactly an L1, but if they say you didn't have it in the last 12 months in the similar category, then that person may not be eligible.
All right. It should be similar one, right?
It has to be, in my opinion.
All right. Okay. Okay, and also, what prompted the reduction of the Dropbox eligibility period from 48 months to 12 months?
I think we talked about it, and I said, I think this is more because they want to do a lot more vetting. They want to
Yeah,
make sure one is the vetting process to ensure they're not bringing in any criminals into the country. Two, to ensure they have credible employees who are coming into the United States, whether it is L1, H1, whatever visa category.
that's right, of course. Okay, so are L1 visa holders required to apply for renewal within India, or do they have to choose a different country for the process?
Sometimes a third country allows them to get L1, say in Mexico or Canada, but again, they'll have to check the rules of that country to make sure third country nationals are allowed to go there to get an L1 or an H1. I know right now Mexico is allowing H1s, but I'll have to check whether they're allowing L1s.
Okay, all right. I think with L1, it's a little different way, but let's go ahead and explore more topics about it. That is, here's another question, Uma, that if an applicant experienced a visa refusal after their last visa issuance, so are they still eligible to use the Dropbox facility?
No, if they've been denied, they'll have to go through the interview process.
Okay,
Now, it depends why they were denied. Was it a 221G? Was it a 214B? What were they issued? A letter would have been issued to them. So we'll have to see what happened. But definitely, if they were denied, they don't qualify for the Dropbox because they never held that visa.
yeah, okay. And also, Uma, I can see a lot of viewers have joined us. I can see Kunal is here. Then Winky is also here. Pratap is here. Monali. So thank you so much, friends, for joining us. It's really great to have you all here. And it's so good when we see a lots of comments here on our webinar. So don't
And I'll
go.
take just 10
Yeah.
seconds and be right back. You can continue talking.
All right, sure. So I think, friends, it's time to take a short break. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back because I can see a lots of comments here, and we are definitely going to take them up just in the second part of our webinar. So keep watching Immigration Talk Show as today we are having a very insightful and very eye-opening, I would say, session with none other than Attorney Uma Mantravadi on the topic L1 visa and Dropbox changes in India. So participate with us in this webinar and do like, share, and subscribe to Immigration Talk Show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Keep watching Immigration Talk Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Immigration Talk Show. Today, we are having a great discussion with attorney Uma Mantravadi on the topic L1 visa and Dropbox changes in India. So, till now, we have gone a lot of different information about the topic. We got to know about the latest updates and also the challenges and also how you can prepare. So, till now, we have covered a lot of questions from my end, and I'm sure our viewers are filled up with lots of questions. So, Uma, let's go ahead and it's time to take up our viewers' comment. So, I think I should take firstly Winky's comment. So, he's asking, going to apply for L1B. What's the timeline I should keep in mind to get the visa approved with premium processing and move to US?
I wouldn't know the answer to that exactly, Venki, because it all depends, you know, on the documentation your employer is providing. What if you get an RFE or don't get an RFE? It all depends on that. So I cannot give you a timeline. That's something you'll have to talk to your employer's attorney to find out. What is the timeline you should keep in mind based on their filing the application. So since they haven't filed it yet, we cannot even say, when are they going to file? We don't know that. So I would talk to the employer's attorney to find out. And I wish you the best.
All right. Thank you, Winky, for your question. And please go ahead and talk to your attorney so that he can definitely help you with it. Or you can also reach out to our attorney, our immigration attorney, Uma Mantravadi, on the given contact details that is you can see on the ticker that this side. With this, I would also like to take up Kunal's question. Kunal is asking, I am applying for an L1A visa for the first time. I have an approved petition, and my company has been sending executives to the US regularly. So, will I be eligible for Dropbox, or do first time L1 applicants still require an in person interview?
You will require an in-person interview. You don't qualify for the Dropbox since did not hold an L1 visa in the last 12 months.
All right.
And I also wanted to clarify your question earlier, Sam, where you asked, if somebody is on an H-1B and now they're applying for a different
Yeah.
classification, such
Yeah.
as an F1 or an L1, will they qualify for the interview waiver? The answer is no. Even the Dropbox is with the 12-month reduction. They've clarified this as well. You will not. So if you had an L1 in the
Mhm.
last 12 months, then you qualify for the waiver. If you've not, you don't.
All right. Thanks
You
for
can't
answering this question.
crisscross the visa categories. Yes.
That's right. Okay, all right. Thank you, Uma, for mentioning that part as I was about to miss out that one. But that's great. And let me take up Pratap's question here. Pratap is asking that I went to USA with H1B visa on September 24th and returned to India on November 24th due to project went on hold. My employer did not process single payroll due to this. Now I'm planning to go to US with same employer, so we'll ask pay stubs at US immigration.
Will the US consulate ask for pay stubs? Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
If you were here on an H1, and H1 is an employment based non-immigrant visa, and if you came here, whether it's for 1 month, whether it's for 2 months, whether it's for 2 weeks, whatever time you were here, they expect you to work and get paid. Now if your employer failed to do that, your employer is in violation, and whatever violations happen is going to affect you. Even with the Dropbox, you still have to prove that you worked. They'll ask you for pay stubs and W-2.
All right.
You're going
So
to have a problem. You need to consult an attorney before you do anything.
that's right. Okay. Then Monali is here and asking that I have had my L1A visa for 5 years and need to renew it. I heard about the Dropbox changes in India. Am I eligible to use the Dropbox, or will I need an in person interview?
If you've had the L1A in the last 12 months, Monali, you're entitled to the waiver. If you didn't have it in the last 12 months, you'll have to go for an interview.
That's right.
I would go and check the consulate requirements one more time. Go to the particular US consulate, whether it's Chennai, whether it's Kolkata, New Delhi, Hyderabad. Please check their website.
Yeah.
Even they have changes constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Even they are going to put up their requirements, Sam. These
Mm-hmm.
are what this is. I'm giving information what the USCIS is giving. But again, consulates are governed by the State Department. So they'll
Mm-hmm.
have their own requirements as well. So I would actually go and check it out.
Yeah, I think that's how it should be, and that's how you can make yourself prepared. So thank you so
Yes.
much, Uma, for taking these questions, and let's move ahead with one more comment I can see. Rajkumar is here, and he's asking that I'm on L1B visa, will expire on September 2025. So am I eligible for Dropbox L1B to H1B, same company?
No, you're not. You'll have to go for an H-1B interview because you were not holding the same visa category in the last 12 months.
Yeah,
So
that's what
you'll
we.
definitely uh, have to go for an interview.
Okay. So I hope Rajkumar, you got your answer. And in case, not only Rajkumar, but anyone who is watching us right now,
Yeah, anyone in the similar situation.
there are many. I think most of the people are having similar questions. So, of course, they are having a lot of concern regarding these changes. But don't worry, friends. Keep on asking questions, and we are here for half an hour more. So, utilize
And
this
I
time.
also wanted to, sorry to interrupt you
No,
again, Sam,
please
my
go.
apologies. Also wanted to give a good news to people that I have an office in Hyderabad now.
Oh,
So if
wow.
anybody wants to reach out to me, I will share that in the next uh, podcast that we do. People want my information to reach out to me through my Hyderabad office. You're more than welcome to reach out to me. And
Wow.
we are there because of all these changes that are coming about, because of all these issues. We expect a lot of people to get a lot of 221Gs also, Sam, in the next coming months after the registration is done and the H1s are processed and people go for their H1B stampings. We are expecting a lot of 221Gs under this administration because we had seen similar history back in 2016 to 2019. So
Hmm.
we're expecting all of that to repeat,
That's right.
and if not more, you know. Because we are seeing so much of changes. The focus right now is all about immigration and immigration and immigration, whether it's H's, L's, F's, doesn't matter.
That's right. I think that's a great news, Uma, that you also have your office in Hyderabad. I'm sure our viewers were waiting for that only because, it's much better to connect personally as compared to reaching out through phone or email. So that's great. And congratulations, Uma, for that. I would say big achievement, not only for
Thank
you,
you.
but for our immigrant friends as well, because they are also getting, I would say, a personal expert advice. So it's a great one for everyone. All
Yeah,
right.
it's very
Mhm.
frustrating
Yeah.
time right now, Sam. It's as you can see, and I'm sure you get a lot of emails, you get a lot of messages with people who are in India, in any other country for that matter. You know,
Hmm.
they don't know the laws completely. They're lost. They're going by blogs or vlogs or TikToks or, and these don't give all the information that you need for
Hmm.
your own individual case.
Yeah.
and every day I get clients talking to me about things like that. For example, I had a client who came to me yesterday, and he did his master's in mechanical engineering from Italy. And his girlfriend was also doing a master's there. She completed her master's.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, along with a bunch of friends who were going to school in Italy, applied for a program here in the United States to come here and do a master's.
Mm-hmm.
So he and some of his friends applied for the F1 visa, and some of them got it. But his girlfriend was repeatedly denied F1 three times. And
Oh.
he was perplexed, saying, "Ma'am, we all got it. Why didn't she get it?"
Mm-hmm.
I said, in my opinion, typically, if you're living in a country temporarily, I wouldn't advise that individual to apply for an F1 or an H1 from that temporary country. I would rather apply it from your country of birth, wherever you are born. So sometimes they can give a 214B because they can say you don't have ties to this country.
Yeah.
And which is true. She doesn't have ties to that country. She herself is there temporarily.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have been better if she applied from India.
Yeah.
The chances are, you know. So now they're getting married. He said, should I apply for her for the fourth time for an F1? I said, no. I said, better she comes on an F2 and then changes her category to F1. Or if she qualifies for an H1, she can
Mm-hmm.
apply for an H1 now or next year.
Okay.
So, and he was telling me how he found some travel agent consultant telling him all what to do. And he
Mm.
said, I went through the wrong advice. I didn't know I could do all these things. I said, this is exactly why, I tell people to talk to an attorney
Yeah.
because we give you the right advice based on the law. We're telling you what are your options. You're
Mm.
not stuck with only one kind of visa. There are options. Try those.
Right.
So this was just an example. You always ask me to give, real-time examples, and this is something I'm giving. So this
I think.
happens a lot, which is why I tell people, talk to me, do a Zoom call. If you're going for an interview next week, talk to me this week so you will know what documents to carry. What are
Mm-hmm.
you not carrying is something I can tell you should be. What could be the problems, like the previous person who asked the question, I don't have pay stubs. What
Yeah.
will happen to me? You're going to have problems.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to hesitate to tell you that. Probably you go to a travel agent, they might say nothing is going to happen because they
Yeah.
don't know. I'm not saying they're intentionally doing things, but they're recklessly doing things because they don't have the knowledge. So, which is
Absolutely.
why it felt that I need to set up an office there so that people can reach out to me and I can be there to answer questions.
Absolutely. I'm sure our viewers are feeling so motivated with that news, and it's such a good news. So, Uma, first of all, congratulations, and
Thank you.
congratulations to all our viewers also, because now they'll be having, right guidance, and of course, everybody, they are thinking that travel agents or maybe getting trapped into all those things because they're emotional, or maybe there's some other reason behind it. But
Sure.
friends, it's like high time, so please go ahead and reach out to the right attorney, take right expert advice. That's the only way you can make your preparation well and can save yourself. So
And
please
this is not the time to gamble with your immigration
yeah.
issues, whether it's an F1, M1, L1, uh, E2, whatever visa you're trying to come on. Immigrant also.
Yeah.
Immigrant visas too. I've seen people getting 221Gs on immigrant visas because they didn't provide the right documentation. So if
Mhm.
somebody thinks those are easy, no, they're not.
Yeah.
Forms are changing, requirements are changing. Like every day, we just heard about this on the 21st, 25th with the alien registration requirement. They're going to have a portal where you have to register. So things are developing so rampantly, so quickly,
Yeah.
you know, people may not even be able to keep up with it. We as attorneys are having a hard time saying, by the time I can wake up the next day, there's something else.
Yeah.
And also, let me remind people March 7th is not too far away. March 7th through March 24th is
Yeah.
your dates for the registration. If you're filing your H1s through your employers, please remind them if they've forgotten. March 7th through March 24th is your deadline to file your application. So make sure you comply with those dates. I just wanted to remind.
Of course, that's a very important reminder. Thank you so much, Uma, for putting up these very important pointers to us, and absolutely making this session a wonderful one. With that, I think it's time to take up some Facebook questions as well, because we have
Sure,
taken up viewers' comments. So
sure.
yeah, here are some Facebook questions that we would also like to know the answer from you. Okay, so this is the first question, and a viewer is asking that I have an L1A visa interview. What
Mhm.
questions should I be expecting? I have worked in the US before on H1B for the same company. All right.
Well, they're going to definitely ask why you're going on an L1, whether you worked for the parent company or the subsidiary, depending on what it was, for at least 1 year in an executive or a managerial capacity. They'll ask for all your documents, your job description, job title, and they can ask what you worked on an H1B while you were in the US on an H1B. They can ask you for pay stubs, W-2s, if you were here for 3 years, 2 years, depending on how long you were here, possibly your tax returns. And sometimes, Sam, they can even ask for bank statements,
Okay.
okay? Because they want to match your bank statements to your
Yeah.
employer. If your employer was depositing your pay, doing a direct deposit, they want to see that.
Yeah.
So sometimes if there's a red flag, they feel that this individual, is showing only paychecks, and somewhere, there's a red flag. I'm not saying the person is doing anything wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but if they feel in their mind,
Yeah.
then they can ask for bank statements because they are going to then match everything. And of course, they'll want to see all the employer's documents, of both the companies, the US as well as the India company.
Yeah.
Nothing
Okay.
is guaranteed. You can get a 221G or you may get an approval. And also, let me say this one step further.
Mm-hmm.
Under this administration, let's say you get the L1 approval, for 1 year, 3 years, whatever time period. When you fly into the US at the port of entry, also there's no guarantees. The CBP can ask any number of questions.
Oh.
And has the CBP been told about this? Yes.
Mhm.
They are going to be strictly enforcing whether it's an L1, H1, F1, tourist visa, whatever visa you're coming on. They can ask you any number of questions as well. The visa stamp is not a guarantee that CBP will admit you into the United States.
Oh my God.
I just want, and this is not something new, this has always been there, but the enforcement is going to be more strictly
Mm-hmm.
enforced.
All right.
So sometimes people may be taken into secondary inspection, asked more questions if there is any red flag going off.
Okay. All right. So it's still not the surety that if there's a stamp, then that person is going to have a US life, right? They can still be like returned back from the port of entry.
Exactly.
Oh God, that's so I would say disheartening that people are so excited as they land in the airport, and still they don't have to be that sure. There's still a chance of returning back.
And the reason I'm not trying to scare anybody
Hmm.
off, Sam, I'm just trying to tell people to be more vigilant, more prepared, more careful, so that you don't have this preconceived thought in your mind that I got my visa, nothing is going to happen.
Right.
So you've let your flag down,
Hmm.
so you're not as prepared. I'm saying till you actually come into the United States, be prepared at every step.
That's right.
This is not to scare off anyone. This
Hmm.
is, I mean, a lot of people are even coming and saying, our attorney is trying to scare off people. We're not doing that. We're just telling you to be more prepared, more careful.
Yeah. I think that's how it should be, Uma, because you are the one who are meeting with hundreds and more than 100 clients a day. So you know what people are, getting deported even with a small mistake. So
Um, Next
that's
month, I
how.
have a tour to the uh, international airport at Houston. We get these tours 2 or 3 times a year. So we
Okay.
actually get to meet the Customs Border Patrol officers. We
Yeah.
get to talk to them. We ask questions during the tour. They tell us how they admit people. They
Hmm.
tell us how the problematic cases, how where do they go, what do they do, what are their rights, do they have any rights, can they
Hmm.
call an attorney, can they not call an attorney. So all this is explained to us during the tour, and we are having one on March 6th or March 9th. I'm forgetting the date, but we have one tour coming up. So even we learn the new things that are being implemented each time there are changes.
Hmm. That's right. Okay. I think there's a lot to process, Uma. Thank you so much for putting up these very valuable examples and making us aware that these things are also happening, and these things
Yes.
may happen. So I would say that again. Thank you so much. And should we move ahead with our next question?
Yes, and continuation of the last question,
Mm-hmm.
uh, can anybody take it for granted that if they get a stamp in the passport that they would be, admitted automatically at a port of entry in the United States? The answer is no, and that includes even tourist visas.
Oh.
I know I didn't mention tourist visa. I mentioned most of the other categories, but I'm including the tourist visa because a lot of people come and say, ma'am, I have a 10-year, they can't stop me. And I tell
Mm.
people, don't take it for granted.
Okay.
For example, Sam, if somebody has come here, let's
Mm-hmm.
say in 2024, was here for 6 months or 9 months or
Mm-hmm.
10 months, they go back and they come back in 3 months again. The CBP will say, why are you coming back so quickly?
Mm-hmm.
So they can cancel that 10-year visa and send that person back.
All right.
Because the
Okay.
word tourist, you're supposed to be touring. You can't be touring for 9 months,
That's right. That's right.
right? And then
Mm-hmm.
you come back after 3 months again. So they'll say you don't have a job in your country, you don't do anything, you're just coming here. So the doubt comes this person is either coming here to work in a gas station or a motel
Mm-hmm.
or a liquor store, something is up the sleeve. So
Yeah.
these are the red flag that goes off.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Uma, for mentioning this again, a very minute detail, because I'm sure our viewers doesn't pay attention, to these very small, I would say, pointers, and these are overlooked, and through these mistakes only, we get caught. So
Yes.
very important to mention. All right. I think now we have. I mean, we should move ahead with our next question. So here's another question asking that, hi, I'm on L1B visa and I'll be completing with my third year in September 2025. My company will apply for a green card and they said that I should extend my L1 visa for another 2 years and at the same time apply for an H1B visa as the green card process may take more than 24 months. So my question is that, can I get an H1B visa on a future date? Can I apply now and get the visa after the expiration of my L1B? Or do I have to move to H1B immediately once it's approved?
That all depends what they are putting in the H1. I don't think they can do an H1B with a future date of 2 years. They can do it with a few months ahead, but I don't think they can do it with the 2 years. So if you're going to apply for an H1 and you get the H1, why
Mhm,
not jump into it? What is the issue of not moving to the H1? How is it going to make any difference?
mhm.
I don't understand why not. My question is that, you know, because obviously at some point you are going to move to an H1. And if you are from India, you have at least 25 years of waiting with the current processing dates for EB2, EB3. So you
Yeah,
might as well move to an H1 because the H1 will allow you to get that 3 year indefinite extensions. Whereas an L1B, the max is 5 years.
yeah.
So might as well get the H1 and jump into the H1.
Okay. All right. I'm sure this advice is going to be helpful for our viewer. And let's move ahead with our next question that we got from our Facebook viewer. That is,
Sure.
hello, just after advice, traveling to US from Australia on my L1 visa with my family. I only have booked flights there as we will be staying minute 1 year. So I think a minimum. All right. Staying minimum for 1 year, so can't book return this far out, and my contract could also get extended. So will this be any issues at immigration or with airline? I am assuming with the visa stamped in our passports, it won't, but just checking.
No, on an L1, you don't have to have a return ticket, whether it's an L1 or an H1. They know that you're going for an employment based, you could have an extension. So they don't expect you to hold a return ticket. So you don't have to worry about that. And, you can tell the officer that you're an L1 and your L1 could be extended or may not be extended. You don't know that. So if your project is completed, your job is completed, then typically the employer purchases the return ticket for you. So it would be up to them to make sure that you are repatriated back to your country.
All right. I think that's a point of relief. Let's move ahead with our next question. I think this we took already. Yeah, this one. Okay. Hi, friends. I'm a Canadian citizen and my L1 visa was approved last week at the New York border. How do I find 13 characters long petition number or receipt number so my non Canadian spouse apply for her L2 visa at the US consulate? All I have is L1A visa stamped on my passport and my I-129 approved stamp, so I can travel to the US, but for my spouse's visa, I need to have petition number, receipt number. I called CBP, but they are not able to provide that information.
Your attorney, your company, your employer should provide you with that. The approval has the receipt number. So your employer should be able to provide with that, or the employer's attorney should be able to provide.
All right.
However, you mentioned that you have an I-129, I-797 approval. If you want to reach out to me, show it to me. I will make sure if that's the correct document. And then, you can then apply for your spouse's L2 visa.
All right. So I think, Uma, these were some of the questions that we got from our viewers on Facebook. And we already covered live questions also from YouTube platform. So I think now we are done with all the questions, all the queries. So lastly, I would I'm just left with thanking you, for bringing up such insightful information and making this session again a very wonderful one. So thank you so much. We are really honored that we get the chance to have shows with you on every Thursday. So hoping to see you soon on next Thursday. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure, Sam. It's always a pleasure to come on Immigration Talk Show every week after week with the most current information that we both uh, find, gather, and I get information because I'm a AILA member. So every day, every hour, literally we get information. Whatever we get, we bring it to you and to the viewers so that they're updated with this information. So once I have more information about the alien registration requirement, I'm going to bring that up because there is a lot of confusion whether an H1 should register, whether an L1 should register, whether a F1 should register, or their families need to. So there is this confusion. So we are not clear ourselves. We're
Yeah.
waiting on clarification from the USCIS. Once we get that, we can do a brainstorming session on that.
Absolutely. I'm waiting for it. All right. Thank you so much, Uma, for being here. I'm so happy that you took us
My
some time
pleasure.
being here. So, again, it was lovely having you, and thank you so much.
Pleasure. Have a good week, Sam.
Same here, same here. All right, friends. So, this was the end of our session, and we got to know a lot of information in today's webinar. Hope you all have enjoyed this session and filled up with yourself with lots of information. So, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And you can also reach out to Attorney Uma Mantravadi on the given contact detail that is 713 with the email ID that is uma@mantralaw.com, and the website is www.mantralaw.com. So that's all for today's webinar, friends. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Immigration Talk Show. We'll be coming out with more important topics and more exciting webinars. Don't go anywhere. Press the bell icon so that you can get the notification every time we come live with different attorneys. And that's all for today's information. Thank you so much for joining us. See you next time and keep watching Immigration Talk Show.